Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vctv, the venture capital TV from LATOKEN, where we connect investors with great startups. So today we are back with some unique and great speakers in the space of fintech and blockchain. So we're going to talk about the investments that you've done in the space and what are the challenges, what is the trend, what's the future for fintech and blockchain from our speakers. So I'd like to start with our speaker who's just joined us for the first time. So before I introduce them, let me introduce myself. Myself, Sunny Mohanty. I'm the regional director of LATOKEN and I'm based here in Singapore. Welcome again. So Rishabh Gupta. Hi, Rishabh. Welcome to VCTV. How are you today?
Thank you, Sunny. It's a pleasure being here and for an exchange thoughts on blockchain and fintech, and I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Okay, so we would like to have a little short bio about you later, but because I want to introduce our next speaker, who's also got a special speaker today. So hi Irina, welcome back. It was lovely talking to you in the last session. Please introduce yourself and your little guest speaker as well.
Thank you. A pleasure to be back. It really is such a great way to start my morning here. It's still dark outside. I hear the roosters cock-a-doodling, so it's a good time. You know, by the time we finish, the world is just waking up here in America, and I feel like I've already had a productive day. But my name is Irina Litchfield. Many know me as a crypto superwoman. I am a founder of Blockchain Cubed. It's a blockchain integration consulting company. We do all kinds of integration into traditional finance for the most part. Some token economics, but those are pretty, those are pretty available. So we do, for the main part, we do integration. I'm also president of Lumeria, and Lumeria is where capital meets innovation. So that's kind of a broader company. Our goal is to really democratize opportunities and democratize investments within regulated capital markets. So, and this is Patootie. Well, her name is Elsalina, but we call her Cutie Patootie, so Patootie, and she's happy to be here.
Hey, we are happy to have you on our panel as well. I mean, I'm feeling super cute now. I mean, I've got this, you've got that, and I'm going to be a very cute session. I hope so. Sorry, that was a little fun. So, Rishabh, please start with a short intro because you've just come here. Because people have heard Arina before, and she's going to obviously speak more. Can you please have a short bio about yourself, like what you do, which company you represent, and yeah, we go from there.
Definitely. Thank you, Sony, for giving me this opportunity. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whichever part of the world you are, having this session and listening to this session. I am Rishabh. I represent OneX. It's a family office based out of Dubai and having operations in India. We are a seed stage or other early stage investment fund where we invest in early stage blockchain ventures. We have a mandate of investing in token only investments, and we have operations in operations in India where we invest in like the fintech ventures or some technology ventures, but most of our investments are into blockchain space, rather like a crypto space where we invest in revolutionary products. Some of our investments like Koti, and they have been doing extremely well. That's the mechanism they're developing for the blockchain world and providing solutions which the traditional finance was not able to. So, I mean, that's a little bit about me. We invest in only seed stage ventures. We do not, really go for early, late series or series C, series D, because we are a strategic investor. We are more of a strategic investor where we believe that investment has two aspects to it. One is putting your money, and the second is putting your sweat in it. So we invest in that company, and then we work with the portfolio venture for their growth, and to help them in raising funds for the further rounds, helping them to grow with a vision that they planned when they were working on the prototype. So yeah, that's something about me and about OneX.
Yeah. So yeah, Rishabh, I'm going to come back to you. I've got more questions for you because obviously Gaurav was on one of our panels as well. So yeah, I come back to you. So Arina, just want to start the session about with perspectives from yourself about where do we stand now? Like this is September 2020. 2020 just felt absolutely different to all of us for the obvious reasons. So in terms of the investment, in terms of the sentiments, where do we stand now, right, in September?
Yeah, great question. I really appreciate it. Well, first of all, we're 4 months post-halvening, and in the crypto world and so far in the blockchain world, it is kind of the beacon from which we account the positioning of where we really are, right? So I think that one of the most important things that makes this time really a little different than other times that we experience is that while speculation is still a big aspect of activity in the crypto world, I think that we're finally seeing integration. So we're finally seeing the big corporations coming in and looking at crypto. There's a lot of development in a blockchain that happens that's behind the closed doors, and those things that are not being announced. And to me, that is a really, really big ticker that we're getting to a point to where the single source technology, single source of truth technology is really going to shift our lives. And in so many ways, in so many different industries. I mean, let's even take a space industry, right? The solutions for supply chain are unbelievable, right? So last year, we basically, a rocket blew up only because a supplier provided a little bit of a faulty, on purpose, material, right? Not even completely wrong, just a little bit wrong. And $500 million, poof, right? And that's the space industry. And we can see application of single source of truth technology, creating solutions for everything from capital markets, where we can really, really expedite the process of transfer, right? Of securities to medical, right? Where we can actually make sure that the information is authentic and transferable.
Yeah, is our little guest getting a little bored? Does she want to have a break or something? All right, thank you, Reena. I hope she doesn't bother you a lot while you speak. Hope so. So Rishabh, so I just want to know, because you said that you invest in seed stage only and you invest only in token, okay? Because obviously Gaurav is based in India and you started operations in Dubai. I just want to know, when did your journey start with your company? Because crypto is not something that, I mean, obviously we have seen more retail investors in the past, but now the things are more institutional players are, taking part in the crypto space as well. But I think, so I just want to know, why did you think of being a crypto token investor, and when did you start your journey?
So, because the CEO of the fund, like you already know Gaurav, right, pretty well, and he has been into crypto markets like from the last 6 years. So to the so-called Gen people, the Gen 1 people, right, the people who actually adopted crypto, believed in crypto, and believed in the potential the cryptocurrencies have. So these are few of the people who were there in the market, who were having this strong belief, and they started their journey back in 2014-15. They were individually investing in crypto market, the crypto projects. Bitcoin, for that matter, was was the first investment for a lot of people. And then OverNext was, we realized, OverNext as a fund realized that a lot of ventures not only need money, they need those kind of mentorship, and they need that kind of guidance that can help them in getting that community outreach, then getting that adoption, and building a product that is, something which can be used with, which can be connected to the real world, and which can actually be a solution, not only in form of tokens, but the product is actually a solution for a problem. So that's from that idea of incubating ventures. This fund came up back in, I think, 2018, or say like end of 17, or sort of at that time when, this ICO phase was coming up, and a lot of ICOs were happening. Then this OneX came up. We started investing into like the seed stages of a lot of products that, were very well known in the industry. So that was an idea of nurturing the startups, nurturing those ventures in the crypto space, providing them the required fund for their growth, and then helping them in growing in terms of operational experience, bringing some mentors on board, sharing with them the required expertise for a to be in a crypto industry. So that was the whole idea of having a seed stage investment mandate. So I would rather correct my words here. It's not something that we only do that, but there is that's a preferred mode of investment. To be at the early stage with a company and then helping them in growing. So that's a preferred step, but we do have done secondary rounds of investments in a lot of companies. We have done some private round of investments. I mean, after they have even done their IEOs and they have done their ICOs, we do invest in those stages of the company, but that's not really the major part of the portfolio.
Okay. So my next question is very much follows this, whatever you just shared with us. So where is this fund based out of?
So yeah, Dubai. So I mean, the fund is based out of, the company is based out of Dubai, right? And we have operations in India. So we operate. We have an operational office in India where we work in. We have a Dubai office, and then we have an operations in India. So that's how we operate. And the investments are mostly in global space. I mean, they are not restricted to any geography. They are. I mean, crypto, you cannot restrict crypto. You cannot limit any kind of a geography in crypto. And I think that's one thing which makes crypto unique, that, it brings everyone on the same page. The entire world is on the same page, on the same platform. So that's something which I really like about crypto.
Exactly. I mean, it's digital, right? At the end of the day. And it's cryptography. So you do so inception was in 2018, and fast forward 2020, I think crypto adoption in India has picked up ever since then. But were there any challenges when this started in 2018?
I mean, challenges as such. Because it's a family office, it's we do not have a liability of having investors and the mandates of investors. We do not have LPs. It's a proprietary fund which we, the own family office fund that is being run. So that really keeps a lot of challenges away from hindering because our investment philosophy is quite different. We do not go for a very short term, just a short term success. That's another part of it. That's that OneX does some consulting and helps in we have a trading bench, and then we have a consulting arm which helps these ventures for growth and do the short term investments, or rather short term consulting. Let's say call them assignments. But as such, there were any challenges for that matter, because there were no mandates from the investors coming up. It's a family office running their own fund and investing with. So I would, to compile all this and put the things in perspective, I would rather say that we are always in shopping and we are never at shopping. So that's in a one-liner, that would be how we do these investments.
Right. Great. Thank you, Rishad. Arina, I've got a very question which is basically been discussed currently a lot. It's the DeFi space, decentralized finance, because we heard about cryptocurrencies, then we heard about ICOs, we heard about IOs, then blockchain technology. Bitcoin is different from blockchain, crypto is different from blockchain. Now we hear a lot about DeFi, decentralized finance. So what do you think, where's this headed to? Where are we headed to in terms of crypto and blockchain?
Well, in my opinion, since again the positioning of halvening, we are heading up. And after every halvening, there is something that pushing things, that's seemingly pushing the industry forward. I do believe that it is driven through Bitcoin, and then everything else is associated through it. It's interesting. You said all these categories, but in the world of people, it's all Bitcoin. Okay, so the regular people, all they do is Bitcoin going up. Therefore, all these things are interesting, right? Bitcoin going down, therefore it's all not interesting anymore, and it's all going to zero, right? Like, this is how the world works. This is how population works. And a lot of investors actually make their decisions based on that, right? Unless they have seasoned through several cycles, they really participate in that like emotional roller coaster, which is exciting on the way up and opposite exciting on the way down. But DeFi, to me, I love DeFi because it allows us to test the boundaries, right? And while of course I do not advise to anybody to go and tinker with it unless it is a disposable income and you want to participate in this new and upcoming ways. I think that it is really exciting because the traditional capital markets are finally looking at what happens in this space and observing and starting to think, no, it's not, changes are not going to happen fast, but at least there is aha moment. Oh, wow, let's watch what happens here and see how we can implement these moving parts into benefit, traditional finance industry. And to me, that's very empowering, right? Because we've evolved so much. 5 years ago, basically, basically the biggest question was still, is Bitcoin going to be illegal, right? So even advanced investors who knew what Bitcoin is, who knew that Bitcoin is not illegal Silk Road, right? Which was the biggest challenge that we had. Is you say Bitcoin, people say, is that a black market? No, it's not. It's not the black market. But even educated investors who knew that Bitcoin is not, Silk Road, they still were questioning whether it's going to be legal or not. So the capital markets did not even think about that, right? The first time we kind of placed the model of what's happening with centralized finance was ICO. I mean, ICO was the decentralized finance, right? Now, of course, decentralized finance is not regulated markets. And I think that is something that must be accented on, because people don't understand it, that when you participate in that, you are playing with the double-sided sword, right? The opportunities might seem very vast. However, there's not somebody that's going to come in and say, these guys were doing sketchy things, and there's a way to reprimand it. I mean, in the end of the day, and this applies for America, right? The SEC took almost 3 years to be able to process all this. So one of the things that we saw, and I want to accent on that because I want to make sure that viewers understand it, again, that it is more of a gambling. I mean, the brightest minds, okay, that I know in the crypto space are like, wow, this is hard, right? So the complexity is increasing. While during ICO we had, small raise, it was a pre-raise, then a pre-raise, then pre-raise, and then we're releasing it to small amount of people, and then we'll go public. So it was kind of really basic it was a basic what we use in pre-IPO roadshow, right? Fundraising strategy. Now with current models of DeFi, we're starting to get into like really complex ideas, right? And decentralized finance, meaning that we don't even know who is doing what necessarily is there. And so I think it's exciting. I think it pushes the boundaries, and I hope that these boundaries that we'll learn better now that traditional people are looking at it, and we'll be able to implement some aspects of it faster to benefit really global finance, right? Because it's the DeFi and crypto space is like this tiny fraction of what's happening in a world. And so I want to be able to kind of connect it in a way as a model, so we can do that, we can adapt faster in capital markets, because all world is lagging. We're lagging in implementation of innovations, and it's kind of obvious at this point.
Great. Thank you, Reena, for those insights. Really helpful for those startups who are watching us today. Rishab, I want to know from you, what's the difference between distributed ledger and decentralized finance? To start with, then I have some more questions.
Yeah, so distributed ledger is more of a technology, right? So it's how that's the whole basic underlying technology for blockchain to come into action. Whereas decentralized finance, if you talk about, that's just however strong the word may be or however complicated the word may be. And I think Arena rightly mentioned that with this DeFi, the DeFi space coming up day by day, the complexities are increasing. But I would, and that's beautifully explained by you. I mean, that's really, that was really a great insight. But at the same time, if you look at, the growth of the DeFi protocols, and if you look at the growth of the DeFi protocols in the last 1 year, from somewhere in like a few $100 million to almost $10 billion, almost in just 1 year. And there have been, I definitely, unless and until someone understands the protocol, they should not go and play around with it. They should not go and just, play around with that and in expectations of huge returns. But if you look at from another perspective, they have actually brought in a lot of people who were not, who at that the lending and borrowing, which is the core function of any commercial bank, right? They've brought that whole mechanism on blockchain, and that's an innovate. I was when I was got into this DeFi space, and when we were like doing the due diligence of these protocols, that really intrigued me, the way they have created that a protocol where you can provide a secured lending, and then using those borrowings and lending and borrowings, and then users can trade with their money and play around, and actually brought the whole function of the lenders and borrowers, which was missing from this space for a lot of time. And they brought this commercial banking function on a blockchain. So that's really an innovative solution. I should say. I mean, that's really the next big thing coming up. The decentralized finance thing. Now, so many insurance protocols are coming up. So many option protocols are being built. We recently heard of so many projects. We were evaluating those projects who are building options, who are building insurance products, options products, prediction markets. All of these markets are coming up on blockchain, and these on mostly on the Ethereum chain, and I'm not really spreading or creating this propagandist of Ethereum, but I'm just saying that it has been the most. You also mentioned about Bitcoin, right? That how people are really following Bitcoin as an asset, and putting their investments, be it any other asset, but they follow Bitcoin. Yeah. With the use case of Ethereum, with the tabs coming up, with so many applications coming up, with so many use cases and utility coming up, I think this whole behavior is going to change very soon, because Bitcoin as a technology is the front runner of blockchain. But I personally feel that it has a lot of limitations. So I think the next follower, or the next front runner of blockchain technology or cryptocurrency would be these dApps and these utility coins and utility tokens, which are connecting to the real world. Now, coming back to the question which you, Sunny, asked, and I think that's a very relevant question. And somehow I was also listening to other webinars, and you really seem to hit on the spot on when it comes to questions. I mean, somehow you read the minds of the users and ask the right questions at the right time, and it's amazing. So so decentralized ledger, distributed ledger is more of an underlying technology on which this whole protocol is built, right? That all the information will be there with everyone. The copy of that information, all the changes, any modifications that is happening on the chain will be there and on the entire the participants of the network. Whereas decentralized finance is one of the products that is being built on this technology, right? So it's just one of the products, and I'm sure that there is so much left to explore. Ashish, like Arvina mentioned about supply chain. So very soon, I mean, there are some products that are coming up. They, although that the exploration hasn't been to that extent, where when you compare supply chain, when you compare finance with any other sector, on the top of a blockchain. But I'm sure that all these areas of business, be it supply chain or any other area of business, that will be in the blockchain very soon. And finance was the let's say the beginning of the era. There is a lot to explore and a lot to follow. And I'm sorry for all the disturbance. I am actually right now in a place where there is some, you might hear some kind sort of disturbance, and I apologize for that.
Oh, no, it's okay. I can hear some horns blowing there. It's okay. It's not that bad. So, Rishabh, to your, I mean, the way you explained it very nicely for somebody who wants to be in the space and probably doesn't know the difference. I mean, people still ask me, is Bitcoin, are you selling Bitcoin? I said, I just don't explain myself anymore. I've stopped explaining myself. So when they ask me, are you selling Bitcoin? I said, okay. I've decided not to. I've decided not to explain those people anymore. But having said that, so tell me one thing, because we have a lot of startups in the. So they come to me. They're looking for fundraising. Okay, they're looking to build a product. So they are built on the blockchain platform. They say that we are a blockchain-based startup. We are looking to raise funds. We also have a DeFi, decentralized finance product coming up soon. So tell me, what are the best ways to raise funds? Because we are obviously an exchange, we help them to raise funds. We have a lot of investors on our portfolio. So we also do IEOs, which are obviously the ICOs back in the days. So as an investor yourself, so what will you advise these startups who come to you with such a question?
Yeah, and that's a very, again, a very relevant question coming up, because you see, like this DeFi hype has just DeFi buzz has been, and I think the whole buzz around, the whole hype around DeFi has been so that all these ventures who are working in blockchain space, now they are writing that in the roadmap that we are coming up with a DeFi product very soon, right? Because they want to capture this hype. They just want to bring out this news. They want to capture those gamblers and speculators. Yes, that they would come up with a DeFi product, and let's buy their token right now. They will have 100x, 200x, 1000x returns. But it's very important to understand that out of so many products that come up, only few of them are actually getting successful. And initially you might, you might get a bite of some venture, some token, but that is not going to sustain. I'm not going to name any protocols as such here, but we have seen, we see every day, right? So many DeFi products, they fail miserably. Some of them are caught in the treasury, some of the funds are locked, some like the team runs away with the money. They do their pre rounds, seed rounds, and then take away the money and just build a website, go for the fundraise, get the fund because of the FOMO that is being created around the whole space.
Right.
At this point, it is very important to understand that, when you go for an investor to raise funds, first of all, be very sure of the product that you are building. Is there a problem that you're trying to solve? Or is it something you're just trying to catch the hype, or you're just trying to catch the train? You need to solve an actual problem and give a relevant solution, even though it's not the best solution. Because when we being an early stage investor, I can very surely say that the product that was planned to be developed is very different from the product that is actually developed after 1 year. And the reason being, because there are so many changes that happens. You have to adopt with the world, how the world is going, what kind of what is the trend that is happening, and what are the changes that are happening. Every time, every second, there is some change happening. There is someone in this world, out of this 700 crore population, someone is building some product and you need to change your product as per the requirements of that particular society or that particular domain that you're working on.
Yeah.
So first, define the problem that you're working on, define the solution, the relevant solution that you're working on. How do you plan to scale up that solution? Do you have, and what scalability do you see? You just can't go out and say, okay, I am building a DApp and next 6 months it will have a market cap of greater than Ethereum. I mean, that's not the way it works. Simple. I mean, you need to be logical enough to understand that I am building a product and I'm building a solution, and this solution will be scaled in these, and in these time, and in this time frame, I'll be building this. Then I'll be expanding my product line. I'll be expanding my team, and I would like to quote an example here, like Kasha, for that matter, has done this exceptionally well. Kasha is a crypto banking solution. They build a product. They showed that, okay, for 2 years they have run successful business, executed the idea with which they came up, provided banking to actual real banking to these crypto projects, and now they are planning for their expansion. Right. It's not like, the very first day they said, okay, we'll cover the entire world in the very first quarter or very 2 quarters. So that being said, problem. So let's put it in points. The problem, then a solution, then the scalability of that. How do you perceive the scalability of that project? Now comes the team, because I can I can tell you that if the team isn't strong enough, then however best, even if your product is best, you are not going to be successful. The team has to be strong in terms of not only expertise, but has to be a committed team. Has to be a team which can go through those ups and downs, the troughs are falling, the whole economic cycle of any project. It goes up, then it falls down, then it again goes up, then again, climbs the stairs of success. But the team should be committed enough to go through all of that. There shouldn't be someone you're just taking advantage of that hype and running away with and going away from the project. So that needs to be analyzed very, very minute, very properly, and it has to be. These are certain parameters that I personally, or ONX has personally assesses in any venture that comes to us for funding. If these all parameters are fulfilled, we really don't care about how much are we plan, we can gain or something, because we know that the product is here to sustain. The product is here to provide a solution, and no matter what happens, the product is going to be a good investment for us. Yeah.
Right. Very good points. I think the startups who are actually listening to this session today will be greatly, it's a big help to them, because they are actually looking to raise funds. Thank you, Rishabh, for that. Yeah. And they're going to reach out to you soon. So stay tuned. So Arina, yeah, tell me. Sorry, you were saying something?
No, we'll be happy to really look at help out those ventures who are looking to raise funds. We are aggressively expanding in the DeFi and NFT space, and we would be happy to look over them.
Great. Thank you, Rishabh. So Arina, in the similar lines, I would like to ask a question, because a lot of startups come to me saying that I'm looking to raise funds. I have a token, but I'm confused if I'm going to raise VC money, private money, or I do an IEO or an ICO on an exchange. So what are the different, sometimes they are totally confused of the different fundraising methods. So as an investor, so what are you going to advise, and how are you going to mentor them through the process?
That's a great question. So I think the first of all, you're so right. The complexities of fundraising are increasing dramatically. One of the most important things people who are entering into the space must understand is the challenges of accepting crypto and the need to manage to treasury management, right? So treasury management was and is still a problem, and banking is an issue, right? So because we have banking issues, Therefore, treasury management must be in place. And it's easy. It's easy when it goes up, because I cannot lose. But when it goes down, it really is challenging. And so a lot of companies end up riding that roller coaster and completely busting because they overexpend themselves in the growth cycle, and then they simply cannot afford to keep their lights on, as the cycle is going down, on the way down. So I think the most important thing that I like to give advice and see is that what is their team's experience in the treasury management. And look, if the answer is, look, don't worry about it, I have done this before, I've built millions of dollars worth of, I've had several exits and I got it, that doesn't work. Your bank relationship that you have with also not going to work, because I promise to you that if you put $200,000 of fiat, that you transferred from Bitcoin, might not matter. But if you're going to try to stick $1 million or a couple into your bank, it's not going to work. And basically, and that I want to be clear about, this is how it works, okay? So you put money in your bank account, you think you have a relationship with your bank, you might even know a CEO of a bank, and you think, oh, compliance, no worries, I got it. I have a special golden ticket that gives me the lucky. So what happens? Compliance comes through and says, nope, that does not work. Okay. So what they do not give you money back and say, here you go, dear entrepreneur, take your money and go somewhere else. They close your account and they freeze your money. Okay. And if you do not have proper KYC AML, they might hold on to your money for quite a while. And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of young entrepreneurs that are brilliant at technology coming in and they're like, okay, I'm going to use, I'm really going to truly build this platform. I'm going to do this. And I don't need a lot of money. I'll just raise $1 million. And they go raise $1 million and, they sell it and then they put it in a bank account, it freezes, and then that's all their project is that. So treasury management is one of the most important key metrics that I want to look at. And now again, it's been a problem for the longest time, and project does not have experienced person that have gone through several cycles, okay, of growth. So like, oh, don't worry, I've done an ICO. Well, I mean, did it work? Or did you mismanage the treasury? Because if you mismanage the treasury, you have not really had a chance to integrate, okay, realistically. You just rode the wave. It went up, you went up. It went down, you crashed on your face. You have the bruises and scars, and sure, you learned some things, but unless you were able to actually successfully implement treasury management, it's not like you now have your scars will prevent you from being able to, smack right into your face again. And I apologize for, for the picture. So treasury management is the number one thing. And the reason I'm saying that is because there are expenses that involved with that. There's no such a thing as free, okay? You're not gonna go in and say, well, in a regulated way, in the rounds, right? I'm gonna go through VC, and I don't wanna do that anymore because that's too expensive and I don't wanna deal with that. I'll just go and issue my token and, and whatever. There's no whatever, right? It's extremely expensive and there are costs associated with it, regulatory costs as well, right? Just because another guy got away with selling securities and calling them token and got a slap on the hand doesn't mean you are not going to go to jail for that. Okay, so just being transparent and clear, and especially in America, okay, because we're highly regulated markets. And I think that another thing too is in India. I was the guest speaker in India in 2018. And what was really shattering to me is that now, while there is a great project that are there in the villages. There's huge problems with basically scammers who are going in and selling this token without even having anything, right, to highly unknowing people, because they hear that there's this thing, there's opportunities coming, and they're just giving away a little bit of money. But you see, you go through all these villages and you collect a little bit of money and you don't deliver anything else, you can make a lot. And so I saw that that was a big problem in India and also other countries as well. So to me, make sure that you understand the costs associated for your company. There's no such a thing as a free lunch. And in the end of the day, many people that went through 2017 said that after going through the whole thing, they wouldn't have done it again, right? Because it's extremely challenging. Now, if you have, an expertise, you have somebody that is really working and advising you, and not just like, oh, I'll put your name, but really working through with you and advising you. By the way, expert people will charge you money too, okay? So like, don't expect that, excuse my language, your shit token is going to be the next big thing and you should just grant them, they should be grateful for receiving a bunch of your tokens. Like, you have to pay money up front. If somebody comes in and says, don't worry about the money, but I am an expert, I don't know, because the true experts in the industry are very rare and their time is extremely expensive. So, but fundraising to me overall right now is changing. So, and I love that, okay? Democratization of investments and democratization of opportunity is happening. And what I personally love is that we're starting to see hybrid models, and most importantly, VCs are starting to understand, because of what's going on this year, that they need to be able to get to liquidity faster and they need to be able to deploy faster, right? So the good old, I need to travel to somewhere and schmooze. And if you guys don't know what schmoozing means, is just kind of like, be cool, meet with people, show yourself, take them out for dinners. That just doesn't work anymore. Okay, so, and that's how VCs used to work. So now we're getting into a rapid deployment stage where a lot of VCs now have mandate to deploy. So they're going outside of their boundaries and they're saying, okay, I will deploy because I have to, otherwise my LPs will pull out. And maybe they should, because the opportunities for direct deployment are also there, right? Like, you don't have to have a one vertical vehicle. So yeah, look at your opportunities and make sure that you calculate all the costs, because what seems to be free, probably not going to be free. Your treasury management most likely will eat your face in the end of the day. It's fun to go up, and we will be going up until we go down. And remember that, even experts do not know when and what, right? But we know that it will. And if you get involved with the decentralized finance, especially if you're new in the industry, don't think that you're the smartest rabbit in the whole cage, okay? Because there's probably somebody that's building more complex system that's actually designed to eat your face. And, and so just be careful, okay? And if you do have investors, just rush in, right? You guys deploy and you advise. And so look for that. Look for those that, for actually either family funds or venture capitalists, that will actually help you, okay? So let them vote on your project through money and investment. And then when you take that money, don't go running. Make sure you work with them. Make sure that you adopt with them. Make sure that even it seems that you can do better, you use their expertise because they voted with their dollars, okay? Because their benefit comes when you actually get to liquidity, right? So all these gaps are preventable. And so there probably would be really good assistance with treasury management, right? Because they already manage their treasury. They understand, they might have banking relationships. So go with family funds that have experiences, go with venture capitalists that have experiences. And if you have advisors, make sure that it's not just a shiny, pretty name, right? Make sure that you actually, I mean, we have a lot of shiny, pretty names, okay, that are just shilling their, I'm just going to give my advice to whoever I can, right? And whoever gets lucky, and then it's my payday. And most of experts, so-called experts, are that way. So make sure that you check for references as well, right? And be ready to pay money. Remember that there's no such a free thing as a free lunch. And if you're expecting it for free, most likely it's not going to be a pretty road.
Absolutely. Very, very good points. And I have seen the industry since the ICO boom till today. So I totally agree with you. You're totally spot on with everything. And I totally agree with you, Rita. Very, very great insights for our startups who are watching today. And they just come to me asking for like, what should I do next? So I'm going to ask them to watch this show today. Thank you, Rita. Rishabh, I've got a question for you. So when a startup or a startup is doing an IEO on an exchange, because obviously you must be working with exchanges as well, right?
Yeah.
So do you invest in an IEO on behalf of them, or where do you come in?
I'll miss out the last 20 seconds for you. It was like you're not
Okay, am I not audible? Am I audible now?
Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah. So earlier the sound was a little bleak. Yeah. Now it's fine.
Okay, Risha, my question is, if you have been a part of an IEO, like an initial exchange offer,
yeah.
So have you invested in one of the IEOs on behalf of a company, on a startup who are raising funds on an exchange? That's number one.
So are you talking about underwriting?
No, initial exchange offer, like token offering.
Are you talking about the underwriting of an for an IEO or
yeah,
no?
Yeah.
No, we do not do that. So as I said, we invest in projects at with an early stage, and we help them in growing. And if then we might we do have we have done undertaking, rather not underwriting, because we help them in connecting to the exchanging and raising funds, but we do not underwrite a particular venture or particular a company for an IEO.
Right.
So,
as an investor, do you ask to disclose the retail investors who have invested into these tokens as an part of an IEO? Is that something that you look out for?
Can you please pardon the question? I think I again missed it.
So basically,
just give me 1 sec. I'll just connect the Wi-Fi again. Just give me 1 sec.
Hello, can you hear me now? The sound is a little muted. Okay, okay, great. So is it my sound? Much better. Okay, let me just come closer. So Arina, while Rishabh is still connecting to his Wi-Fi, I just want to ask you, so just asking you, how do you get what are the benefits of you coming and speaking and sharing your insights on our Vctv? How do you see getting benefited from these sessions?
Absolutely, great question. First of all, I love speaking. So in the old world, traveling the world and speaking and making sure that I'm a voice of reason, and has been kind of something that's been driving me. Up before 2017, I worked extremely exclusive, so you would really have to kind of know me to be able to work with me, and my balanced life was a little bit different in 2017 as we started seeing the growth of the projects that would basically say, don't worry about these things, right? Don't worry about bank account, don't worry about treasury management. Oh, no, my attorney told me that it's not a security, it is that is a utility. Kind of the three answers that were there, I became really, really concerned that we have a lot of pseudo experts that are just kind of spurring out. I invested in Ether, so I made a lot of money. So now I'm an expert of integration. It was a big problem. So I become really, really public and speaking and making sure being the voice of kind of a thought leadership and, caution. So, I'm known as a spokesperson for making sure that that global regulatory infrastructure for blockchain exists. Now, it still doesn't. I still speak about the importance of it. But, to me, the benefit of being here, it really is just making sure that I stay connected with the world, and see what other investors are doing. I think the network of the investors, it just kind of was natural in our lives before, right? So we would travel to conferences, have our VIP dinners, have our VIP gatherings, have this network where we can not just see those that we already know, but have a baseline to meet others that are like-minded, because we constantly need to expand our field. I believe that we must constantly reach out and expand. And so to me, Vctv has been doing exactly that. So almost every episode, there's somebody that is a new person. But also, I think what's important too is that we continue our discussions, right? Because Vctv has a lot of different topics that are there, and we do live in a world that integrated on many, many verticals, and a lot of innovations, they are kind of integrate. There's no more, it doesn't matter whether it's AI or blockchain or space or quantum. I mean, you look around everywhere and there's opportunities that are bigger than they have ever been. And it is so important that they integrate, right? Because if they stay on their vertical, we will not be able to really, truly change the systems and get in touch with the new reality, right? We need to build the foundational structures for a new reality that is not necessarily sustainable, because sustainability makes it to where we live in a sustainable world right now of, let's say, finance that was built 70 years ago. That's a sustainable design. We don't need sustainability. We need to, we need something that can adapt and change according to evolution, fast growing evolution. So to me, it's just a way to make sure that I stay connected. It allows me to make sure that as the growth cycle happens, especially in the crypto world, I like to be that cold shower, and when the cycle is going down, I'm always cheering and saying, "We can do it! Just keep doing." And then when the cycle goes up, I'm like the cold shower, like wake up, And so it really is great. And then you guys have been amazing in what you've been able to create with Vctv, because there is already a network of investors. It allows us to stay within each other's kind of a field of view and see that there is a deployment, see that we are experiencing similar challenges. And as a unit together, what I love about it is that it's available to anybody to watch. So you no longer need to pay a bunch of money to go to get invited to super private gathering, okay? To be able to meet and talk to the people, or not even meet and talk, but kind of hear what they say. So then you can cater your message toward to make sure that you can actually pitch them, right? Get to know your investors. One of the most important things you want to do when you're fundraising. You need to speak their language, So it allows us to be able to give. And I love that. So we have this network of investors. It's growing. And because our times are now, more, because we don't have to travel, we do have a lot more opportunities of timing. And, the Vctv in US, I mean, sometimes there's 7 speakers, so, and everybody, and these names that pop up in there, they probably would never be able to participate in so many gatherings, because you cannot travel everywhere at the same time, but we kind of can now.
Irina, you nailed it down so perfectly. I'm happy and glad to know that we bring in so much value to the investor community itself. I'm really, really glad to know that. Thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. Rishabh, just conscious of the time,
I got your question. So So you're essentially asking for investor KYC, right, or investor due diligence.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So,
Sure.
Irina rightly mentioned earlier that Irina, right, or is it Irina? How should I pronounce it? Irina.
Uh,
Yeah,
Irene.
either
Yeah.
one, Irina, it's all the same.
It's
Okay.
all the same.
So, as Irina really rightly mentioned that, the compliances and regulations have really tightened up now. And if a project is not asking for investors' information, then there is definitely something shady in that project. So we definitely, that is a unsaid thing. I mean, I should not rather speak on this platform and tell those projects to, ask this question. But again, for the benefit of for a wider benefit and for a benefit of these ventures, you should definitely ask for investors KYC. You should know who our investor is. You should know where, what are the sources of the funds. You are using the right fund for the right, because even if you're building a right model and somehow by mistake you take a wrong source of funds, then you are going to end up in a big trouble. And the regulations today these days have really tightened up, and they are clawing all these projects and saying, okay, unless and until you are highly regulated and KYC, we are not really going to allow you to be working in this ecosystem. Because,
Right.
so that's they do ask for due diligence, and I think that's the right approach to take for investors,
Right.
due diligence and KYC.
Great, thank you. Because they're conscious of the time. So, what are the quickly, Rishabh? Because you mentioned that you have successfully closed rounds, investment rounds recently. Can you just enlighten us?
Yeah, so recently we have invested in Kasha. So I'll quickly, take it because in the benefit of time, interest of time, I'll just mention about these names. So Kasha is a crypto banking solution which is based out of UK. It's a neobank which is providing crypto banking services to crypto projects. So their KYC, I think, is one of the best KYC processes I have come across. They
Right.
they ask for each and every detail of all the existing investors of that project, the where are the funds coming from, where are the funds being deployed, and then they provide a crypto bank. Because until unless if they land up in some, they don't want their clients and the project, all these cryptocurrency projects or blockchain projects to land in any kind of trouble later on. So they do their very strict due diligence and legal due diligence, financial due diligence, everything at a very minute level. Then second is one of our other investments is XBTC, which is soon going to be coming up, and it's a rebasing mechanism based hedging instrument. So they hedge against the market dominance of Bitcoin, and it's a rebasing. It's based on a rebasing mechanism. They don't just print money.
Right.
Like a lot of institutions do, but they do this rebasing so that in a way that benefits the entire network in a same way, and that helps them in hedging the market dominance of Bitcoin. Then there is another one, Oro Pocket, and I think Sony, you're really quite interested in that project, so we can have a discussion on that privately as
Right.
well. So
Sure.
Oro Pocket is another which is fractionalizing or providing like tokens for the real world assets, and
Right.
they're backed. They're all the assets are custodian based. They are backed by the real world. That's an asset backed token in a way. So providing you can buy in and sell any real world asset on a digital space.
Right.
They have commodities, metals, and a lot of other assets. I mean, you can go and we can have a detailed discussion on that. But yeah, that those are the few investments that we have done recently in the last, I think, 6 months. But before that, there has been Cody and Cody Top Network. So a lot of projects, but that happened like in 2019 and 18
Right.
framework. So yeah, these are the
So
recent investments we have done.
that's great. Good to know that you are active in investment during this time as well. Rishabh, good
Yeah.
to hear those insights. So Rishabh, I just want to ask you the same question because Gaurav has been on our panels more than once. You've been on our panel, VCTV. So what value does VCTV add to you as an investor?
I mean, I have been following VCTV for a long time, and I think this is kind of one of the best platforms to to come up and share, exchange. So I mean, all the information that is required for an entrepreneur or an investor. because it's a platform where as an entrepreneur, I can get I get all the information without even going to these, highly, as I rightly mentioned, highly private meetings where you don't even get an access. And somehow you have brought this on in a decentralized way. You have put it across on the table for everyone, and to have an access to all this information. And as an investor, I really feel that the insights I get for different geographies, what is happening across Europe, what is happening across US, what is happening across Middle East, all this information from different funds and the speakers that come up, that's really insightful and informative, and that really helped in the past somehow in our decision making of going ahead with investments, or which projects to look out for, what are the current mega trends going on in the ecosystem these days, or will be coming up in the next 6 months. So yeah, Vctv has been doing a pretty amazing job, and kudos to you guys for doing this and putting this all together for all of us.
Thank you, Rishabh. Thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate, I'm really glad and happy that Vctv does add value to investor community as well, besides the startup community. So that brings us to the end of the session tonight. Thank you, both of you. I mean, you have enriched me with so many information, new information on DeFi, treasury, and Arina explained it so nicely. I am actually, my knowledge base has grown like probably tenfold within this last 6 months of hosting Vctv. I have to admit on the show as well. Thank you so much for your time today. And so as we know, we have this, as Arina mentioned, she also speaks at our US panel. So Rishabh, same with you. You can go and check us out at www.latoken.com/events. And we cover several topics: fintech, blockchain. Tomorrow we have food tech panel, by the way, and several other panels where we discuss very specific, information about each topic that is beneficial to both the investor community and the startup community. Please feel free to reach out to Carol, my colleague, if you're interested to speak on in one of these panels. I would be much more happy to have you back on a panel. Having said that, please stay safe and let's stay connected. And that's it. Good evening from me. Have a good day.